Hello and welcome back to English Unlimited Podcast, the place where we break down English for you, transforming complicated grammar into usable conversational power. I'm your host.
And I'm your other host. It is wonderful to be back with you, and I am particularly excited for today's deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we are tackling what is maybe the single most confusing piece of grammar for intermediate learners.
I think I know what it is.
The present perfect tense. It's that moment where B1 learners either, soar into fluency or they just they crash into grammatical panic.
Oh, you are absolutely speaking my language. The panic is so real. Because here's the situation, and I know every single person listening has dealt with this. It's 4 p.m., right? The action of me drinking my morning coffee is finished. It's completed. It's done. But the time container, the word today, is not finished. It's still active.
Right.
So when I try to describe that completed action, do I default to the simple past and say, this morning I drank 2 cups of coffee, or should I use the present perfect? Today I have drunk 2 cups of coffee. It's a paradox.
It feels like a paradox.
Yeah.
The action is finished, but the day isn't.
What do I do?
It is the quintessential intermediate learner confusion. And it's a confusion that comes from trying to translate concepts directly from another language.
A language where, the simple past just handles everything that's finished.
Exactly. It doesn't care about the time container. But in English, you are hitting on the critical tension point. The completed action sitting inside an unfinished time frame.
So how do we solve this? What's the secret?
Well, today we are going to reveal the single secret of time that determines the choice. We call it the finished versus unfinished rule.
Okay.
And we'll show you exactly why, in your specific scenario, the present perfect is almost always the natural, the expected, and honestly, the necessary choice when you're giving a status update about something that happened today.
That sounds vital. Because if I get it wrong, if I use the simple past when I should have used the perfect, I risk sounding, a bit stilted.
Stilted, or even like the action happened in some sort of historical vacuum, completely disconnected from now.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Exactly. And we're also going to look at some surprisingly emotional linguistic details.
Ooh, emotional grammar. I like it.
Yeah, like how switching a simple word from the neutral, yet to the stressed, still can completely change the tone of your sentence. It can communicate deep frustration or impatience instead of just, a neutral delay.
Okay, that's a power move.
It is.
Oh,
We're
great.
turning this complex tense choice from a difficult grammar calculation into an automatic, intuitive feeling.
Yeah.
And that feeling, that's the marker of genuine fluency.
Well, impatience is definitely a universal language, so I look forward to mastering that nuance. This sounds like a truly crucial deep dive for anyone who wants to move past that awkward B1 stage and into, smooth, professional conversational fluency.
It absolutely is.
Fantastic. Before we jump into the time machine and start dissecting verb forms, we have a quick mandate for you, the learner. Please, right now, take 1 second.
Just 1 second.
Subscribe to English Unlimited Podcast and like this deep dive. That small action from you is massive support for us, and it allows us to continue creating these extremely detailed breakdowns.
We really appreciate it.
Done. Great. Okay, let's unpack this timeline and solve my coffee problem for good.
Let's do it.
All right, so where do we start? This feels like a huge topic.
Let's start with the absolute foundation.
Yeah.
The beautiful simplicity of the timeline concept.
The timeline.
Yes.
What?
Every single time you open your mouth to talk about something that happened before this exact moment, you have to ask yourself one question.
And what's that?
Where on the timeline is my action? That's it. We only have 3 zones. Past, which is behind you, present, where you are right now, and future, which is in front of you.
That seems very simple. Almost too simple. I feel like the complexity comes from how those zones interact with each other.
Precisely. You've hit it. That is the secret of temporal structure in English. The language forces the speaker to categorize the action immediately. You have to decide. Is this action trapped in the past, or does it have some connection? Has it spilled over into the present?
Trapped versus spilled over. I like that. So let's start with the trapped one, the simple past.
Good idea. Let's start there because it's by far the easiest to define.
This is the one we all learn first. The classic V2 verbs, I ate, I went, I slept.
Exactly. The simple past is defined exclusively for actions that are finished. They're complete, and they are definitively behind you.
Okay.
But the most important signal, the thing that tells you that you must use the simple past, is a specific time marker that clearly says the time period is over.
Like a sealed box. You mentioned this before.
Exactly. The simple past is like a closed box with the exact expired time labeled on it. Yesterday, last week, 2 hours ago. in 2020.
Ah, so once you say one of those phrases, the box is sealed shut.
Sealed shut. The time is historical, and you must use the simple past. You cannot use the present perfect to talk about a sealed box. It's a grammar rule.
So for you listening, the rule is to listen for those past signals. Words like yesterday, last week, last year ago, in 2020. If you hear or say one of those, the tense choice is locked in. You're done.
You got it. The simple past provides a clear chronological narrative. It's for telling stories, listing sequential events.
Like one thing happened, then the next thing, then the next.
Perfectly put. Let's revisit that story about Emma's friend Sarah visiting. Emma describes a chain of completed sequential actions inside a sealed time frame. She says, yesterday morning, I woke up at 7 a.m.
Okay, yesterday morning, sealed box.
I made a special breakfast. At 9 a.m., the doorbell rang.
All V2. Woke, made, rang.
We laughed about old memories. We ate slowly and enjoyed every bite.
Every single action, from waking up to laughing, is in the simple past. The structure is fixed because the whole time container, yesterday, is over.
That's the feeling of simple past. Finished, complete, isolated in the past. It's behind a wall.
Okay, so that's the sealed box. Now, what about the open bridge, the present perfect?
The connection point.
Yes.
The present perfect is defined for actions that happened at an unspecified time in the past.
So we don't know when or we don't care when.
Exactly. The time isn't important, but the action has immediate, tangible relevance to the present moment. It's an open bridge connecting that past action to the moment of now.
So it's the fact that the action happened that matters now, not the precise time it happened.
Precisely. The focus shifts entirely from when did it happen to what result or consequence exists for me right now.
Can you give me a clear example of that?
Absolutely. Think about professional settings like a job interview. It's a great relevance example.
Okay.
The simple past might detail a specific finished event. In 2022, I ran the marketing campaign for the South American market.
Right. That's historical data. It happened in 2022. Sealed box.
But the present perfect summarizes the ongoing current value of that experience. You'd say, over the last 5 years, I have developed advanced team management skills.
Ah, I see. You use the present perfect to talk about your historical achievements as they relate to your current qualifications. You're establishing immediate relevance.
Yes. If you say, I have worked on several projects similar to this one, you're not talking about a specific project last year. You're saying that right now, in this interview, I am qualified and experienced because of those past projects.
That's a huge distinction for sounding professional. The simple past is about history and chronology.
The story.
And the present perfect is about results, about the accumulation of experience, and about your current qualifications right now.
That distinction is paramount. You've really got it.
Okay, so that's the basic idea, the timeline. But sometimes, like with my coffee problem, it still feels a bit fuzzy.
It does, and that's why, when the simple timeline concept isn't quite enough, especially for tricky words like today or this month, we rely on 3 critical rules to make the tense selection automatic.
Okay, let's hear them. Lay them on me. I'm ready for rule number 1. The one that solves my 4 p.m. coffee dilemma.
Rule 1. It's all about the time frame status. Is it finished or unfinished? This is the foundation of what you call the temporal elasticity principle.
The bending of time, yeah. Based on whether the container is sealed or open.
The rule is crystal clear. If the time period is definitively over and complete, you use the simple past.
Okay, give me an example.
I saw 3 movies last week. Last week is over. It's gone. It's a sealed box.
Simple, easy.
However, if the time period is still running, if it's ongoing, meaning it literally includes the moment you were speaking, the present perfect is required.
So, I've seen the 3 movies this week.
Exactly.
And why?
Because this week is still active. It's an unfinished time container. I might go see a 4th movie tonight.
You might. And this is where we confront the today elasticity. You're speaking at 4 p.m. You drank the coffee at 9 a.m. The action is finished.
But the container, the word today, is not. You have nailed the core conflict. Because you were speaking within an ongoing period like this morning, this week, this month, today. The present perfect is the required tense to connect that finished action to this open period of time.
So it's the bridge.
It's the bridge. So if you say, today I answered 5 emails using the simple past, it sounds a bit like the day is already over for you.
Or maybe that the work part of your day is mentally finished.
That's a very subtle advanced point. But yes, that's a nuance that usually requires extra context to be clear.
Wait, let me probe that nuance. That's really interesting. What if I clock out of work at 2 p.m.? and I'm speaking to a friend at 4 p.m. My workday is finished. Could I use simple past then, even though the whole day isn't over?
That is a brilliant question, and it gets into the speaker's mental framing of time.
Okay.
If you are focused entirely on the finished sequence of events before a major break point, like the end of a workday, then yes, simple past is sometimes used conversationally to create a strong narrative sequence.
Like telling a story.
Exactly. I did my calls, I wrote the report, and then I left. It's a little story of your workday.
What's the alternative?
The alternative, and what's almost always safer and more expected, is if you're just giving a simple status update. You'd use the present perfect. I've answered all my emails today.
And what does that emphasize?
It emphasizes the result that exists now at 4 p.m. The fact that your inbox is clear. The SP focuses on the sequence of actions. The PP focuses on the current relevant result.
I see. So unless I'm telling a whole story about a finished sequence of events, I should probably just default to the present perfect for things that happened today.
That is the advanced learner strategy. It's the safest bet.
Okay, that makes sense. What's rule 2?
Rule 2, time specificity. Is the time specified or unspecified? This rule helps determine if the listener cares more about the when or more about the experience.
I'm guessing the simple past loves specificity. It feels very precise.
It demands it. Simple past is mandatory if you give explicit details about when or where an action took place. If you can point to a clock or a calendar date, you are locked into the simple past.
Okay, so if someone asks me, when did you go to Ireland? I have to answer with simple past.
You do. Or if you state, I saw that movie on Thursday afternoon, the tense is fixed. It's non-negotiable.
Because the specific time is known and stated. It's not just a general, unspecified experience anymore.
Correct. The present perfect, on the other hand, is used if the time is unimportant, unknown, or if you, the speaker, are deliberately choosing not to state it.
Like, I have seen that movie already.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
The focus there is on the fact that you possess the experience of seeing the movie. The result is, don't tell me the ending. The historical moment you acquired that experience is totally irrelevant.
Right. It's about the existence of the experience now.
Exactly.
Okay, that's 2 rules down. What's the third one?
The third and final rule adds another layer of nuance. Rule 3, conversational focus. Are you talking about results or activities?
Results versus activities. What does that mean?
It means the goal of your communication affects your choice of tense. If your focus is on a chronological sequence of completed activities, we tend to use the simple past.
Like a list of things you did?
Yes, this is often how we ask children about their day, because the sequence matters more than the final result. You'd ask, what did you do at school today?
And the expected answer is a story, a list of events. First, I studied history, then I ate lunch, and after that I talked to my friends.
Precisely. But what if you're not asking for a story? What if you're asking for a status update, a tangible consequence that is relevant now?
Then you'd use the present perfect.
You would. And it often implies a request for verification or consequences. What have you done at school today?
The implied question is, show me your accomplishments. Show me the results you achieved up to this very moment.
You've got it. It links the productivity of the school day directly to the present need for accountability or progress.
That is a powerful distinction. Asking, what did you do, sounds like you're asking for a story.
But asking, what have you done, sounds like you're asking for a results report. The present perfect is asking for results that are relevant now.
That subtlety is the hallmark of truly advanced usage. You're not just using the right grammar. You're using grammar to communicate the right tone and the right expectation.
Wow, okay. That's a lot to take in, but it's starting to click. So before we can move on, we have to talk about the structure, right? The nuts and bolts.
We must. We have to solidify the structure. The core present perfect structure is subject plus heavy E, or has plus V3.
V3, the past participle.
The past participle. And this, as you know, is the specialized form of the verb that you need after have or has for all perfect tenses.
And this is where the irregular V3 forms, that third column in the verb tables, cause so much pain for learners.
So much pain.
They get confused with the simple past V2 form all the time.
It's a critical distinction to master. For regular verbs, it's easy. Walked is V2 and walked is also V3. No problem.
But for irregular verbs, you just have to memorize all 3 forms. There's no way around it. And I think it's worth spending some real time differentiating the V2 and V3 forms, because that knowledge unlocks multiple areas of fluency, not just the present perfect.
Okay, let's do it. Let's focus on, say, 5 high-frequency irregular V3s. I want to know not just the form, but how it sounds and feels when it's used correctly in context.
Absolutely. Let's start with one that confuses many people. No. The forms are know, knew, V2, known, V3.
So if I want to talk about the beginning of a fact, I use V2. I knew the answer yesterday. But if I want to talk about knowledge I possess now, from the past until now, I use V3. I have known that answer since I was a child.
Perfect. Here's a more formal example. The court proceedings have known significant delays this quarter.
Why is that V3?
Because those past delays are relevant now. They are affecting the current status of the case. It's that bridge to the present again.
I see. Okay, next up, a really common one, do. The forms are did, V2, done, V3.
Right. And a great V3 example would be, I've done all the laundry, so the basket is finally empty.
Ah, so the V3 is crucial there because the empty basket is what's relevant and visible right now.
You've got it. That's the core idea.
Okay.
How about eat? The forms are eat and E2, eaten, V3.
This one trips people up all the time. They say, I have ate.
All the time. But it has to be eaten. Let's think of a funny, weird V3 example. My dog has eaten the entire sofa cushion. I've just found the stuffing everywhere.
Huh. Okay, that's a great way to remember it. The fact that the dog ate it is historical. It's a past action. But the result, the destroyed cushion, the stuffing everywhere, is immediately relevant right now.
The consequence of the action lingers. That's what V3 signals. Okay, what about take? The forms are take, took, V2, taken, V3.
Another tricky one.
Very. The V3 taken is essential for describing accomplishments or acquisitions. For example, she has taken 3 advanced courses this year to improve her data science skills.
And if you said she took 3 courses using the simple past,
then the focus would be on the time, maybe on the story of her studies last semester. But by using the present perfect, she has taken, the focus is on her current skill level, the knowledge that she has taken with her into the present moment.
it's part of who she is now.
Exactly. Okay, one more. See? The forms are seesaw, V2, seen, V3.
So I saw that movie yesterday, but I've seen that movie before.
Perfect. A more formal V3 example might be in a business meeting. We have seen enough evidence to proceed with the next step.
And that implies that the accumulated evidence, which is the result of past actions of looking and researching, is sufficient now for us to make a decision.
You have completely internalized the concept. That's excellent.
That exercise really helps.
Yeah.
But you said V3 has, like, linguistic superpowers.
Yeah.
It isn't just for the present perfect.
That's right. It has a secondary but absolutely crucial function. The past participle is the primary ingredient for making the passive voice when you pair it with the verb to be.
The passive voice. Okay, that's another big topic for B1 learners. Give me an example using V3.
Okay, let's take the verb strike.
Yeah.
The forms are strike, struck, struck. V2 and V3 are the same here.
Right.
If we want to describe the current state of a building after a recent storm, we can say, the building has been struck by lightning.
Ooh, okay, break that down for me.
Notice we have has been. Been is the V3 of the verb to be. And it's followed by struck, which is the V3 of our main verb, strike. It's a double V3.
A double V3. And we use the passive voice there because we care more about the building, the thing that received the action.
Then we do about the lightning, which was the actor.
Wow.
Yes.
So mastering V3 isn't just about the present perfect. It's about unlocking the passive voice, which is a huge part of formal and objective English.
It's massive. But wait, there's more.
More. What else can V3 do?
The V3 can also function all by itself as an adjective to describe a current state.
How so?
If I tell you the chair is broken, that word broken is the V3 of the verb break. But here it's acting as a descriptive word, as an adjective. The past action of breaking determines the current state of being broken.
So a written report, a spoken agreement, a stolen car, those are all V3s acting as adjectives.
All of them. So mastering V3 is truly foundational for 3 major elements of English. The perfect tenses, the passive voice, and descriptive adjectives. It is not an optional memory exercise.
It's the gateway to intermediate grammar.
It really is.
Okay, so we know the theory, we've got the rules, we've got the structure. Now for the practical part, how do we make this sound, good?
Ah, yes. Now we enter the practical phase.
Yeah.
Achieving what I call acoustic fluency.
Acoustic fluency, I like that. Making your sentences sound fast, natural, and effortless.
Exactly. And I think this is where so many learners who know the grammar rules still sound unnatural. And it all comes down to one simple thing.
Contraction.
Contractions. Things like I've, she's, we've, they've. And let me be clear. These are not stylistic choices. They are not optional. They are essential for the rhythm of natural, fluent English speech.
So explain that. Why is I have worked hard today grammatically perfect, but conversationally awkward compared to the smooth sound of, I've worked hard today.
It's all about the stress pattern of English. When you say the full form, I have worked, you put an unnatural emphasis on the auxiliary verb, on the have.
Right, you can hear it. I have E.
It forces the listener to hear that little grammar word really clearly, which slows down the rhythm and makes your speech sound disjointed or
Labored, like you're reading from a textbook.
exactly. Native speakers reduce the auxiliary have or has. We essentially swallow it down and link it immediately to the subject.
So the contraction of links the two words together. It reduces the stress on the unimportant word, which is have, and it makes sure the emphasis falls naturally on the important words.
The words with meaning, like the main verb worked or an adverb like already.
Right.
Precisely. Now listen for the difference in tone. If you want to emphasize the existence of an experience, to be very strong about it, you might use the full form. Like, yes, I have seen that movie, don't ask me again.
Okay, so it's for emphasis, but in just normal, neutral conversation.
In 95% of neutral conversation, the quick, contracted form maintains the flow.
The difference between she has finished her report versus the quick, merged sound of she's finished her report. The second one just flows so much better into whatever you're going to say next.
It doesn't break the rhythmic pattern. And this is something you, listening at home, should practice actively, maybe by shadowing native speakers and really focusing on merging that subject and the auxiliary verb into one sound.
I've, you, he's, she's, it's we've, they've.
Absolutely. The goal is to make the stress fall on the main verb or the adverb. Listen to this. I've already eaten breakfast. The main stress is on already and eaten. The contracted form, I've, allows that to happen naturally.
Got it. Okay, that's acoustic fluency. What's next for making our narratives flow better?
Now, let's talk about a major marker of advanced fluency. This is something that really separates intermediate from advanced speakers.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's the seamless, natural switch between the present perfect and the simple past within the same conversation.
Ah, yes. This is where we stop narrating everything in just one tense, which is a really common B1 habit.
It is. Monotense narration using only one tense just sounds unnatural. If you try to tell a story using only the simple past, you miss the opportunity to link it to the present.
And if you try to tell it only using the present perfect,
You lose the necessary chronological detail.
Yeah.
It sounds very strange, like a list of unconnected facts.
So how do we structure that high-level transition for our listeners? What's the model?
Let's use an analogy. The present perfect is the headline,
Okay.
and the simple past is the body text or the detailed narrative. The PP defines the scope and the current relevance, and the SP fills in the specific, sequential, historical data points.
So I use the present perfect to give the general status update, the summary, the headline, and then I immediately switch to summary past when I want to dive into the specific details of the story or the sequence of actions.
That is the dynamic. The PP is the necessary introducer. Let's do an extended contrast drill, a little role play.
Okay.
I'll ask you a present perfect summary question, and I want you to answer with a PP headline, and then immediately switch to SP details to narrate the experience.
I'm ready. Let's make it about my horrible commute this morning.
Okay, so how has your morning commute been so far? You look completely drained, like you've been fighting traffic for hours.
Ugh. I've had a truly awful morning, to be honest. Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong.
Oh, really? Tell me about it. What exactly happened this morning?
Okay, so you want the narrative now, so I immediately switched to simple past, right?
Perfect.
Well, the key moment was that the main highway was closed due to an accident, so I spent 40 minutes just sitting motionless. Then, when I finally left the traffic, I realized I left my wallet at home, so I had to turn around and go back.
Oh, no.
Yeah. By the time I finally arrived at the office, I missed the first meeting.
That is a perfect example. Notice how you started with the present perfect headline. I've had an awful morning.
Right. That gives you the current relevance. I am currently drained and stressed now.
And then you use the simple past. Was closed, spent, left, realized. To recount the specific, finished events in chronological order. That dynamic switching is the clearest marker of advanced narrative flow.
That feels so much more natural. The present perfect gives the listener the so what first, the status update, and the simple past gives the how and the when. It tells the story.
You've got the structure locked down.
Okay, so now we have the core concepts, the structure, the fluency. What's next?
Now we get into the secret language of time, the adverbs.
Ah, the little words that do all the heavy lifting.
They really do. Since the present perfect deals with unspecified time, We rely heavily on adverbs to clarify the relationship between the past action and the present moment. These adverbs are critical signals that instantly tell the listener, and you as the speaker, which tense is needed.
They're like the linguistic GPS for the tense. They guide you instantly to the present perfect.
I love that. A linguistic GPS. That's exactly what they are. Yeah. So let's look at 4 adverbs that define immediacy, expectation, and emotion.
Let's start with yet. I know this word is usually used only in questions and negatives, but what's the real deep difference between yet and still?
Okay, so let's put the spotlight right there. Yet versus still. This is an essential nuance to master. Yet is the neutral word.
Neutral. Okay.
It just means up to now, and it's used when you anticipate that something will be completed. It simply marks an action as currently uncompleted, but without any judgment or emotion.
And the grammar rule is pretty strict, isn't it?
Very strict. It's only used in questions and negative present perfect statements, and its placement is almost always at the end of the sentence.
Okay, so let's go deep. Give me some examples of yet in different conversations.
Okay, a formal context.
Yeah.
The board has not ratified the final contract yet.
Meaning we anticipate it will be ratified soon. The delay is just a neutral fact.
Exactly. Now, a casual context. Have you checked your email yet? I sent the file an hour ago.
Just a simple inquiry about the current status. No pressure.
Right. How about an accountability context? This is vital for professional communication. You might say, I haven't done it yet. I'll get it done first thing tomorrow.
Right. That manages expectations. You're confirming it's not complete, but you're promising future action. It's respectful.
Very. And finally, a daily routine context. I haven't gone to the grocery store yet today. We're running out of milk.
Okay, let's do a quick role play. Let's imagine we're discussing a delayed work task.
Great idea. I'll start. Hi there, just checking in. Have you finished processing the invoices yet?
No, I haven't finished them yet. I was just working on the Smith account, and it took a bit longer than I expected. I'll send you the final spreadsheet in about 30 minutes.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Just let me know when you've sent it.
So what are the common phrases, the collocations we hear with yet?
The most common ones are things like haven't finished yet, hasn't arrived yet, and hasn't called yet. The key nuance to remember is that yet is neutral and generally positive. It confirms the action is outstanding, but still expected.
Okay, that's clear. Now for the next one. Already.
Yes, already. This one communicates speed or surprise.
Right, so let's do the spotlight again. Already versus just. They both imply completion, right?
I do.
Yeah.
But already implies sooner than expected. It expresses efficiency or a mild surprise. Just, which we'll get to next, implies very, very recently, a moment ago.
So already is about expectation.
Yes, the definition is before now, or at some time before the present moment or before it was expected. Placement is key here.
Where does it go?
Either between have-has and the V3, which is most common, or sometimes at the end of a question, particularly in British English.
Okay, let's hear some different contexts for already.
A formal context. The security team has already implemented the new compliance measures, well ahead of schedule.
The focus there is on efficiency. They were fast.
Exactly. Now a casual context. Wow, you've already drunk 3 cups of coffee. Are you planning to stay awake for 3 days?
That's the mild surprise.
Right. And a positioning example.
Mm-hmm.
I finished the presentation before the meeting even started, so I've already sent it to everyone.
And what about in a question?
A question example. Have you finished your lunch already? It seems like you just sat down.
Okay, let's do a role play where we're surprising each other with rapid progress.
Okay, so I thought you were supposed to be cleaning the massive storage room this afternoon. That usually takes 4 hours.
I have already cleaned the entire room and organized all the files. I finished about an hour ago. I was surprisingly efficient today.
You've already done that.
That's-
That's astonishing. That task usually takes forever.
So the key collocations would be phrases like already finished.
Already finished, already planned, already implemented. The core nuance is all about managing expectations. It happened earlier than someone thought it would.
Got it. Okay, that brings us to just.
Now, just. This is the absolute king of immediacy, and it relies on the present perfect to highlight that the consequence is happening right now.
So for the spotlight, just versus recently just means a literal moment ago.
A moment ago, seconds or minutes. Recently refers to a slightly longer but still modern time frame, like last week or last month.
Okay, so the definition of just is that the action concluded mere seconds or minutes ago. And the placement is really strict, right?
It is the strictest. It must be positioned between have-has and the V3. It cannot go at the end of the sentence.
Okay, give me some examples and context.
The formal context.
Yeah.
The CEO has just finished the emergency board meeting. We expect a statement momentarily.
The urgency is clear. It happened seconds ago.
Right. A casual context. Nat has just arrived. She's taking off her coat right this second, so come down and meet her.
Okay, very immediate. What about an emotional one?
An emotional context. I've just had the worst meeting of my life. I need to sit down and process this immediately.
And for buying something new, an acquisition.
An acquisition context. I've just brought a new phone. I'm still setting up the password, so it's brand new.
Okay, let's do a role play, sharing some breaking news.
Great. Did you hear that sound of an ambulance a few minutes ago?
Yes, I did. I was wondering what that was. I just looked online, and the news has just confirmed a small fire down the street. It happened a few minutes ago.
Wow. I've just been distracted by my email, so I completely missed the update.
So the crucial collocation here are things like just finished, just seen, just bought.
Yes, and the nuance is that strict placement rule. It always goes in the middle, and it emphasizes that the action is so recent, its result is actively visible now.
Okay, so we've done yet already, and just. Now we come back to the emotional one, still.
Finally, we revisit still. This adverb is the emotional sibling of yet.
Right, so for the spotlight, still versus yet. You said if yet is neutral about a delay, still communicates strong impatience, disappointment, or frustration. Why does it carry all that negative emotional weight?
It's because of its placement and its implication. Still looks back at the duration of the waiting period and basically says, this should have happened by now. Why is this delay continuing? This makes it ideal for complaining.
So it's used in negative present perfect sentences to express that an expected action hasn't happened for a long time.
For some time, yes. And its placement is usually before have or have.
Okay, I need to hear some detailed examples showing that emotional load.
Let's do it. A formal context, maybe institutional frustration. Despite our repeated requests, the city still has not implemented a curbside recycling service after 2 years.
The word still there really highlights the long, unacceptable delay. You can feel the frustration.
Exactly.
No.
Casual interpersonal frustration. Sue still hasn't arrived. She said she'd be here at 2 o'clock. It's 3:30 now. I'm furious.
That's a huge difference. Let's compare the tone directly.
Okay. Listen to the massive tonal shift. Compare the neutral, I haven't received the package yet, which is just a status update, with the stressed, I still haven't received the package and it was due last week.
The still emphasizes the annoyance. You can hear it in the voice.
It changes everything. Let's do another one. Accountability negative emphasis. They still haven't responded to my proposal after 2 weeks of waiting. I might lose the contract.
Okay, and just to be clear on the grammar rule for placement.
The grammar rule is that still must be placed before the auxiliary verb in the negative PP structure.
Okay.
So it's subject plus still plus haven't or hasn't plus V3.
Got it. Okay, let's do a role play. We're waiting impatiently for a vital delivery.
Okay. So the equipment was supposed to arrive at 9 a.m., but the tracking hasn't updated.
I know. I've been calling the delivery company all morning, but they still haven't given me an update. I need this package now.
This is terrible customer service.
Yeah.
I still haven't heard back from the supervisor I emailed either. This continuous waiting is driving me crazy.
That's where still is perfect. It conveys that continuous mounting frustration. So the key collocations are things like, still hasn't finished.
Still hasn't finished, still haven't heard, still haven't fixed. You got it.
Okay, that was a deep dive just on those 4 words. What about adverbs of duration? For and since.
Yes, these two are crucial for measuring time that starts in the past and continues to the present moment. And they are non-negotiable signals for using a perfect tense.
Let's talk about the since chap. We need to spend serious time on this because I hear this all the time. Using the simple present here is one of the most common and persistent B1 errors. Why does I am in Canada since 2013 sound so jarring to a native speaker?
It's jarring because the simple present, the verb am, describes a state that is fixed now. It does not have the ability, the temporal elasticity, to include a continuous timeline that started in the past.
It's a snapshot, not a video.
Perfect analogy. If you use since or for to talk about a duration, you are describing a state that started in the past and extends all the way to the present. Only the perfect tenses, present perfect or present perfect continuous, can do that.
So we have to use the form have been or have lived. Let's redefine the 2 adverbs just to be sure.
Okay, for describes the duration. It's a measured period of time. It quantifies the length. Think. For 5 years, for 3 weeks, for 6 months.
An example.
We've been discussing this project for the last 2 hours.
And since.
Since describes the starting point, the exact moment or event the action began. Think. Since 2010, since I graduated, since Tuesday morning, since I was a child.
And an example for that one.
Sheila's played the piano since she was 5 years old.
Okay. Now, for the critical distinction you mentioned earlier, the difference between an ongoing action and a finished one.
Right. This is key. If you are using for or since to indicate an ongoing action or state, the present perfect is required. If the state is finished, the simple past is mandatory.
Let's nail that down with a direct comparison, the ongoing versus finished pair.
Okay. Ongoing. I have lived in Victoria for 5 years.
And what does that mean?
Means I still live here now. The 5 years includes this present moment, so the present perfect is required.
And the finished version?
I lived in Victoria for 5 years. The simple past.
And that means I do not live there now. The simple past seals that box. The 5 years are a closed chapter in my past.
Exactly. There's also one more layer here. You can also use the present perfect continuous with for and since for dynamic verbs, for action verbs.
Like what?
For example, I have been studying English for 3 years. This emphasizes the continuous nature of the activity itself.
And what if I said, I have studied English for 3 years, using the simple present perfect?
That's also correct. But it emphasizes the accomplished fact of the duration more than the ongoing process. But the key thing is that both of them correctly avoid the simple present trap.
So, the main lesson here for everyone listening is, if you see or use since or for in a duration context, you absolutely must use a perfect tense, never the simple present.
That single correction will drastically improve B1 accuracy. It's a game changer.
Okay, this is fantastic. We've built a really strong foundation. Now I think it's time to add some more vocabulary to make our conversations about our lives sound more natural.
I agree. The present perfect is the ideal tense for discussing your life history, your skills, your personal growth, all those things. It lets you summarize an activity that started in the past and is relevant now. So let's integrate some necessary phrasal verbs and focus on how they enhance our use of the present perfect.
And let's make sure most of our examples use the present perfect to really reinforce the structure we just spent all this time on.
Excellent idea. Let's start with phrasal verbs for hobbies and skills. Let's discuss 2 verbs for learning new things, take up and pick up. They often confuse learners because they both mean to start a new activity.
Right. So what's the nuance? What's the spotlight difference?
Take up implies starting a new hobby or a serious, dedicated activity. It suggests effort and planning. Pick up, on the other hand, means learning something new casually, often just by exposure or immersion, without any intense formal study.
Okay, so take up is serious, pick up is casual. Let's get the definition and examples for take up.
Definition of take up: to begin a new hobby or dedicated activity. For an example, using the present perfect, and a serious one. I've taken up the challenge of learning Mandarin. I signed up for a class last month.
The class makes it sound serious. Okay, another example, maybe more of a casual hobby, but still using take up.
Since retiring, my father has taken up wood carving and has already made 6 amazing bowls. The PP is taken up, shows the result of his new hobby, the bowls he has now.
Right. Now for pick up. The definition is to learn something new casually, often by exposure.
Yes. So an example for language acquisition. I've picked up some survival French just by watching a lot of movies with subtitles over the last year.
No classes, just exposure. And what about for a skill?
For a skill. She has quickly picked up the hang of the new software after watching the training video just once.
Okay, let's role play the difference to make it super clear.
I like it. So, you become quite good at the guitar. Did you finally take up lessons?
No, I didn't take up formal lessons. I just picked up a few chords from YouTube videos over the past few weeks. It was a very casual learning process.
Ah, I see. I, however, have taken up pottery, which required investing in a wheel. That was a serious commitment.
So the collocations would be things like take up golf, take up running, take up a challenge.
Or take up a language if it's serious.
What?
And for the other, it's pick up a language, pick up a skill, or even pick up speed.
That's a great breakdown. Okay, next up, a very useful one, brush up on. This is the verb for when you realize you're getting rusty.
Exactly. The nuance is that brush up on implies fixing or refreshing a skill that has declined or hasn't been practiced for a while. It's an act of refreshing knowledge you once had.
Okay, so the definition is to improve a skill that hasn't been practiced for some time. It usually refers to skills you once possessed.
Precisely. For an academic example with the PP, I've completely forgotten how to do complex statistics. I need to brush up on my geometry before starting my thesis. The need to do it exists now.
And for preparation, maybe for a trip.
I've been spending all month trying to brush up on my Spanish before my trip to Peru next month so I can speak more fluently.
And a professional example.
Since I haven't used that software in years, I've had to brush up on my skills significantly to be ready for the new role.
Okay, let's role-play planning to revive an old skill.
Okay. My old pianos are just sitting there gathering dust. It's so depressing. I haven't touched it in 10 years.
Oh, that's a shame. You should definitely brush up on playing the piano. Why don't you spend this weekend just brushing up on the basic scales? You'll be surprised how quickly the muscle memory comes back.
I think I will. I've realized I need to brush up on reading sheet music more than anything else. That's what I've really lost.
So the collocations are things like brush up on grammar, brush up on a language, brush up on math, or brush up on writing skills.
Exactly. You're always brushing up on a skill or a subject.
Okay, now for some phrasal verbs about focus and relaxation. This is very relevant to modern life.
It is. Let's look at two verbs that are perfect opposites when it comes to concentration. Zone out and dive into.
Right. So zone out is losing focus, daydreaming, becoming unresponsive. And dive into is starting something with massive enthusiasm and full concentration.
Perfect definitions. So for zone out, to stop paying attention or lose focus entirely, a good PP example showing an effect would be, I've been so exhausted lately that I've zoned out twice during important meetings this week.
The zoning out is a result of the stress. Okay, and another one.
How about a past action with a current consequence?
Ah.
I completely zoned out while watching that long documentary, and now I have no idea what the ending was.
I've done that. Okay, now for its opposite, dive into. To start doing something with great enthusiasm and concentration.
Yes. For an example, showing excitement. After that terrible work week, I've already decided to dive right into a huge new novel this weekend and just ignore my phone.
That sounds like a great plan. And for learning.
She has eagerly dived into learning how to cook Italian food after being inspired by her trip to Florence.
Okay, let's role play that contrast between zoning out and diving in.
Okay. I tried to read that new academic paper, but it's so dense. After the third page, I found myself starting to zone out completely. My eyes were just scanning the words.
You need a fun break. I, however, just got the latest report on renewable energy, and I'm going to dive right into it this evening. I'm genuinely excited about the data.
I wish I could dive into work like that. I've just been too tired lately, so I keep zoning out.
So the common phrases are easily zone out or starting to zone out.
And for the other, dive right into, eagerly dive into, or dive into the material.
Fantastic. Okay, two more for this section. Verbs for managing effort and persistence.
Yes, let's look at kickback and stick with.
So the nuance here is that kickback is casual relaxation, just taking it easy, and stick with emphasizes perseverance, continuing despite difficulty.
That's the core difference. So, definition of kickback, to relax and take it easy.
And an example using the present perfect.
Since finishing that marathon project, I've really kicked back and enjoyed my weekends. This reinforces that PP structure we've been working on.
And for a future plan that's connected to a present action.
Once I've submitted this final report, I'm going to kick back in the garden all afternoon and read.
Okay, now for stick with, to continue doing something and not give up.
Yes. So a great personal example would be, I've stuck with learning English for 3 years, even when the grammar felt impossible.
And what about giving advice for the future?
Learning a new language is like a difficult marathon. You must stick with it to see real progress.
Let's do a final role play for this section, this time about encouragement.
Okay. I'm feeling really frustrated with my new exercise routine. It's so hard, and I just want to quit.
Don't. You have to stick with it. You've stuck with this for 6 weeks already. Don't give up now. Just take one day to kick back and recharge, and then get back to it tomorrow.
That's good advice. I will kick back tonight so I can stick with the plan tomorrow morning.
So the collocations here are kick back and relax, or just kick back. And for the other, stick with the plan, stick with it, or stick with the habit.
You've got them all.
This is great. We're building a whole conversational toolkit here. Let's move on to some more high-impact structures that we use every day.
I agree. Let's look at a few more structures that naturally rely on the present perfect for providing those high-frequency, relevant status updates in daily conversation.
Let's start with two verbs that are just central to scheduling and social life. Meet up and catch up on.
Okay, so the definition of meet up, to gather socially with someone, it's often prearranged, and it emphasizes a casual gathering, not a formal meeting.
And a good present perfect example showing social status.
We haven't met up for lunch since Monday. I'm starting to miss you.
And for a future plan connected to the present.
I've already planned to meet up with my sister for dinner this Friday.
Okay, now for catch up on. The definition here is to do something you are behind on. You missed something, and now you need to finish it.
Yes, and this inherently links a backlog from the past to a current task in the present. It's a perfect verb for the present perfect.
So, for a task.
I've spent the last 2 hours trying to catch up on emails I missed during my vacation, but I still have 50 left.
And for well-being, like sleep.
I've been trying to catch up on sleep since my project finished, but I still feel tired.
Okay, let's do a quick role play discussing overdue tasks after a vacation.
How are you managing after your time off? Are you settled back in?
I'm drowning. I have so much to catch up on. I've been trying to catch up on reading all the news reports that dropped while I was away, and I haven't met up with my team leader yet, so I need to schedule that to catch up on the project status.
It sounds like you need to prioritize.
Definitely. So the collocations are meet up with friends or colleagues and catch up on emails, sleep, reading, or work.
Exactly. Okay, 2 more high-impact phrases for describing your routine and your emotional state.
Okay, what are they?
Back to back, and the phrase, I've had enough.
Oh, these are great. So back-to-back emphasizes that there's no break in between activities. And I've had enough conveys that you've reached your limit of tolerance.
Perfect summaries. So, definition of back to back, happening one after another with no break in between. A classic PP example expressing exhaustion would be, I've had back-to-back meetings all day, so I'm completely exhausted right now.
Or a more casual one. I've got back-to-back calls this morning, so I can't even step away for a coffee break.
Now, for I've had enough, to convey that you've reached your limit of what you can tolerate. It links a long, ongoing period of annoyance from the past to a decision you're making now.
Right, so for a work limit, I'm tired of the constant mandatory overtime. I've had enough of this job. The PP shows that the annoyance has built up over time to this breaking point.
Exactly. Or for a relationship tipping point. I've put up with this messy situation for too long. I've finally had enough.
Let's role play the consequence of having too many meetings.
How was your schedule today? Did you manage to get any real work done?
No. I literally had back-to-back appointments since 8 this morning. I only took a 5-minute stretch break and then immediately jumped into another call. I've had enough of days like this.
I don't blame you. That sounds completely unsustainable. You need to kick back immediately.
I plan to. So the collocations are back-to-back meetings, appointments, or calls, and for the other, had enough of this or finally had enough.
You've got it.
Okay, we've covered a lot of vocabulary. Is there anything else on the structural side we need to make sure we've covered?
Yes. There is one final verb pair that is so critical, we need to do one last deep dive on the distinction. It is a universal B1 pain point.
Which one is it?
Gone versus been.
Ah, yes. We touched on this in the V3 section, but let's isolate it. The difference boils down to your return status, right?
Correct. It's all about whether you came back or not. You use gone when someone went somewhere and is still there. They have not returned to the point of origin.
So if I say, my colleague has gone to the store, what is the consequence? What does that mean for me now?
The consequence is that your colleague is not present here now. They're still at the store, or perhaps they're traveling back, but the key is they are absent.
Okay. And you use be when someone went somewhere and came back.
Yes, this is used for life experience or for a routine trip where you've returned.
So if I say, I have been to the bank today, it implies I completed the action and now I am back home or back at the office.
Exactly. And for life experience, I have been to Italy 3 times. That implies you have the experience now, but you are currently here, not in Italy.
So the ultimate test. If I say to you on the phone, I've gone to the library today, what does that tell you about my current whereabouts?
It tells me that you are physically still at the library and have not returned home yet. If you were at home and giving me a status update about your day's activities, you would have to say, I've been to the library today.
That distinction, though it seems small, is actually huge for avoiding confusion.
It's massive. It's a really clear signal of location.
Okay, I think it's time to put all this theory to the test and look at the common mistakes people make.
I agree. Let's run through the top 3 pervasive errors learners make and solidify the grammar rules we've discussed.
Let's start with mistake number 1, which has to be the V2 versus V3 confusion.
The auxiliary verb errors, yeah.
Okay, so let me give you a wrong example. I'm talking about something I've never done, but I use the simple past verb form instead of the participle. I have never rode a horse.
That's the classic V2 slip-up. And the correction is, I've never ridden a horse. You must remember those 3 forms. Ride, road ridden, the rule is absolute. Always use the V3 after have or has.
Okay, here's another common one, using the verb take. He has took my car.
I hear that one a lot. The correction is, he has taken my car. Not only must we use has for the third-person singular subject, he, but the V3 form, taken, is mandatory. We just have to emphasize again, you must memorize those irregular V3 forms.
There's no shortcut. Okay, mistake number 2.
The missing auxiliary verb in questions. Learners often forget that a present perfect question needs an auxiliary verb, just like a simple past question needs the word did.
Right, so a wrong example would be, how long you lived here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That structure is missing something. The present perfect question needs the auxiliary verb have, and we must invert the auxiliary and the subject.
So the correction is, how long have you lived here?
The structure is always auxiliary plus subject plus V3 for questions. Don't let your native language structure influence the English question form.
A very important point. Okay, mistake number 3.
The duration error, or what we call the since trap.
Ah, yes. This is the error we discussed, using the simple present when the duration of an action continues to the present moment. So, for example, I am a student since last September.
The simple present trap. The correction is, when a duration continues right up to the present moment, the perfect tense is mandatory. So the correction is, I have been a student since last September.
The phrase since last September is like a big neon sign flashing, use a perfect tense.
It is. It's a non-negotiable signal. And fixing that fundamental error is one of the quickest ways to sound much more accurate in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. We have really gone deep today.
We have. We've dissected the present perfect, we've traveled through time, and we've mastered some crucial conversational vocabulary, all while avoiding the most painful mistakes. Are you ready for a quick quiz to cement all this knowledge?
Bring it on. I feel like I've definitely brushed up on my grammar today, and I'm ready for the test.
Okay. Question 1. If you were talking about an action that happened earlier in the day but the day is not over, which tense must you use to provide a status update?
The present perfect. The time container today is unfinished, so the open bridge rule applies.
Correct. Question 2. Which word implies delay and frustration about a long-running, expected non-completion? Yet or still?
That would be still. Yet is the neutral one. Still carries that emotional weight of impatience. For example, I still haven't found my keys.
You nailed it. Question 3. Which phrasal verb means starting a hobby casually, often just by exposure, without intense effort? Take up or pick up?
That is pick up. If I want to learn Chinese informally, I might pick up a few phrases from an app.
Fantastic. One final check. If you say, my boss has gone to lunch, what does that imply about their current location?
It implies they went there and they are still there. They haven't returned yet. They are currently absent from the office.
Perfect. You've absorbed all the key concepts.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? Let's summarize.
Our top 3 concepts today are, number 1, the present perfect is your open bridge, connecting a past action's result or experience directly to the NOW.
Number 2, the present perfect is non-negotiable for unfinished time periods, like today or this week.
And number 3, the rule for and since is critical. If the duration is ongoing, the perfect tense is mandatory. You have to avoid that simple present trap.
And the top 5 words and phrases we've empowered you with for true conversational fluency are, yet, just, brush up on, back to back, and that essential emotional phrase, I've had enough.
Now for your micro-challenge, the learner. We challenge you to use 2 adverbs like just, already, or yet, and 1 phrasal verb like take up, brush up on, or kick back to describe your day so far in the comments below.
For example, you could write, I've just had my coffee and now I'm going to dive into my work. Practice makes perfect. Use that vocabulary immediately so you can stick with improving your fluency.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to English Unlimited Podcast.
I'm your host. See you next time.
And I'm your other host. Bye.